Hey babe, are you gonna take a stab at it?
I'm gonna take a stab at it. We are Melissa and Jesse and Hudson, and we also have a toddler, Lincoln.
He's over there.
We're Adventure Endeavor. We've been full-time on the road for 6 years now. We're here to talk about why, after all this time, did we go back to a fifth wheel?
Yes, and one of the main reasons we wanted to make this video is because we've been getting a lot of comments on an older video we have about how travel trailers are better than fifth wheels. And now I can tell you that is absolutely false. Fifth wheels are much, much better.
Yeah, so basically we've had many iterations of rigs over the years. We started with a smaller fifth wheel, then we went to a fifth wheel toy hauler, then we went to a tiny 17-foot travel trailer, and then what did we do?
Then our a truck camper for a month.
Yep.
Then our 30-foot travel trailer, which is still for sale, by the way. If you're looking for a Grand Design Imagine with 2,200 watts of solar, it's all decked out. It's in Southern California. Comment. Let's hook up. Let's make the sale.
So after all of that, we now have landed on our next rig that we're planning on being in for quite a while. Is an Alliance Paradigm 395DS.
Yes, and the thing is, guys, is that life changes. A lot of people were they appeared to be super upset that we were back in a fifth wheel. And it's like, who cares what you have? Like, do we make good content? Do you enjoy our video? Like, it doesn't matter what trailer we have. If you have a travel trailer and we have a fifth wheel, like, we could still be friends. It's cool. Like, I don't mind. Like,
yeah, it seems like a lot of people on YouTube have been very like tribal about it, and like there were people that were mad at us when we switched from our first or second fifth wheel to the travel trailer that we went down to at the time, and now people are mad again.
People are like, unfollow. Like, you're not in a fifth wheel, unfollow. Oh, you're not a travel trailer, unfollow. It's like, guys, life changes, situations change.
Exactly. As you can see, this little dude has a lot to say, and we have not one but two of them. So, you know, two little humans running around. So we just needed a lot more space.
We want to kind of go into some of the different categories of a fifth wheel versus a travel trailer. And first and foremost, it's going to be towing, right? Whether you have a travel trailer or fifth wheel, you want to make sure you have the right truck for the job. We had a 30-foot travel trailer with a 2500 diesel, and our trailer is half-ton towable. So we were essentially over trucked to some extent for the travel trailer. Now we have a 42-foot fifth wheel and a Ram 4500 dually. Again, we are over trucked to some extent. Now, that being said, I will tell you this, a fifth wheel tows better no matter what you do. I mean, we had a weight distribution hitch. We've read reviews on the special like Henley hitch and different types of hitches for travel trailers. You're gonna get sway. We get sway in the fifth wheel occasionally, but the thing is like, it's maybe 5% in a fifth wheel, where a travel trailer is going to be like 35%. And I'll tell you, we just drove across the country. The fifth wheel, you do not notice it. You do not stress when a semi goes by. If there's something in the road and you need to veer around it, it just tracks straight. It's smooth. There's hardly any sway. Hands down, towing, it is much better. I'm talking open highway towing is much better. Now, when you get into side streets, stuff like that, sometimes this is where a travel trailer can be better. And the main reason being is overhead clearances. You got bridges, especially on the East Coast.
Yep.
Lots of things that people forget about is just trees. You can be going down a suburban street and there can be trees overhanging that might hit your super tall fifth wheel. You have to watch out for that. Yeah,
you're going to be one of the tallest vehicles on the road, short of a semi. So something that you got to keep in mind, because the trees, they just keep growing.
Yep.
The bridges stay the same height, but the trees keep growing and growing.
And they might not get trimmed as often as they should, and your RV will be trimming them. Another thing too is boondocking. We haven't had any issues yet, but trees when boondocking is that's the biggest con on a fifth wheel. Most of the roads are okay, but when you start to get really back in there, you can have issues. Next thing I want to talk about is maneuvering. Our truck is about 22 feet. Our Ram 2500 is 22 feet. Our travel trailer is 34 feet. Help me with the math, dear. 56 feet.
Yes.
56 feet. Now our truck is 24 foot and we're 42, but we have that overhang. So we're about 66 feet. So we are longer, but I feel like other than the overhead clearance, I can get this trailer into tighter spots.
Yes.
Reason being is the pivot point changes, and with a fifth wheel, especially if you have it set up right, having the right truck, you can really jackknife the truck. We can go over 90 with our truck. We're nowhere near hitting the cab with a flatbed or anything. And you can really kind of, when you see a semi like what do they call it, dock into like an alley docking, when they like back in, you can do that and you can pivot really, really well.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I've been super impressed, like blown away actually, with how tight of U-turns we're able to make. It's been like unlike anything else, I would say.
It is pretty wild. There's been two spots I can think of where we did a UE with this setup and we were like, there's no way we could have done that with the travel trailer, which is shorter overall. It's just, it doesn't turn as well.
Plus, with the fifth wheel, you're, yes, maybe technically longer, but you're gonna have more of that living space up above the bed of your truck. So your overall length is gonna be shorter than if you had the same feet of living space in the RV with a travel trailer, if that makes sense.
Yes, because we had talked about going to a bigger travel trailer, and then I was like, no, because you still have the poor turning radius, and then you're even longer, like a full-on bunkhouse travel trailer. You would have been like 37, 38 foot plus your truck. Wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
For instance, we have this spot that we park at in my parents' house. I was able to get our fifth wheel in this spot pretty easily. I mean, let's say it took me 5 to 10 minutes, but it was one of those spots you had to pull in and then jackknife and pivot around some really big trees. It's a tight spot. I used to do the same spot and we actually stopped because we could barely get the travel trailer in there. It just doesn't pivot enough in the right direction. And it took me about an hour compared to 10, 15 minutes. And my dad had to get the chainsaw out and cut a bunch of trees. So same exact spot, a longer pickup truck, a longer trailer, but we were able to get in there with the fifth wheel. And that's just a really big thing for us. Believe it or not, boondocking and camping off-grid, I honestly think that the fifth wheel is better for a lot of reasons. And then another issue people have with fifth wheels and the maneuverability is hitting the bed rails. A lot of you see, we have a flatbed truck. We did that on purpose because back in the day when we had a fifth wheel, that was one of the limiting factors that we ran into, is the fifth wheel camper, when you articulate in boondocking sites, would contact the truck. And we did not want to go through that again because it damaged the trailer. It damaged the truck a little bit. So now we have the flatbed and we don't have to worry about that at all.
And then also, as far as accessibility to boondocking spots, that's another thing that people say often, like, oh, the bigger the rig, the harder it is to get into boondocking areas. And yes, that is true in some cases. However, we kind of went back in our previous YouTube videos and just racked our brains and thought of all the different spots that we had been to camping, boondocking out west over the previous...
About 2 years?
Yeah,
looking
roughly.
back, yeah.
And probably about 95% of them we could have easily gotten into with a rig this size. And if we couldn't have gotten into that exact spot, there was one right down the road big enough for us to camp in. So for us, the places that we ended up camping, that didn't really like create like a limiting factor for us to not want to go bigger again.
Yeah, and then thinking about that too as well, you have to think about the company you keep. What type of travelers are you hanging out with? We're trying to hang out more and more with families, and therefore, if you have a family, you would assume you would have a somewhat decent sized rig like this if you're full-time, traveling full-time. So we're like, why do we have this 30-foot travel trailer when most of the families are gonna be roughly in like a 40-ish foot fifth wheel? So it's apples to oranges, and it's like, we might as well have the space if we're camping in areas and with people who can only go to those spaces. So it was like, it was a no-brainer.
Piggybacking on that same thought, you know, we had a brief stint. If you followed our channel for a while, you'll know that we had a brief stint in a Black Series RV when I was pregnant with this guy. And, you know, there was a minute that we're like, should we overland full time? And for that exact reason that you just mentioned, we want to create intentional opportunities for our kids to be around other kids, for us to be around other parents. It didn't make sense. Like, most families are in the big rigs. Most families are not overlanding.
Yeah, and most of those full-time overlanders, they'll do it for like 6 months, and then behind the scenes, they're in an apartment, or they have like a house or something.
Or
and
Airbnb hopping kind of thing.
Or Airbnb hopping, and they're trying to...
Which is fine, to each their own, but just for us to wanting to be in an RV full-time,
Yeah,
I don't think it matched
and to
up
be
with that.
actual full-time and not have like a home base, it's very, very rare to find families that do that. And that's something we realize between that and then, you know, now we're in this behemoth of a home, but it does feel like a home.
And okay, can I take can I take it from here?
Take it. This is us just
take it away.
wrapping.
Just zipping and zapping, lippity zapping.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so livability wise, the layouts are much better as far as feeling like an actual home in fifth wheels versus travel trailers or Class A's for that matter. Just a significantly better layout, and it feels like, it doesn't really feel like a trailer. It feels like an apartment.
It really does. It
Yeah.
truly does. And that was one thing we noticed too, once we had Hudson and we went on the road again after our little stint at my parents'. At my parents' house, we were using their yard. We were doing laundry at their place, and we had endless water and all these things. And we started to realize that, oh, like, it's not bad if you're outside a lot, and in a perfect world, you're outside a lot, but that's just not how it goes. So once we got on the road and we did a summer in the travel trailer with the 4 of us full time, it seriously felt like we were living in a closet. Like, we had hooks everywhere. All the walls were just filled with jackets and coats and shirts and hats and bags. And it was constantly moving this to get to this. And then you move that on top of here. And then this, you had to move 3 things to get to 1. And it felt like imagine if you had a closet that was shaped like a subway tunnel. That's like the thing about travel trailers, even with the arched ceiling for us. So you're just going down this closet and it's just got a little arched ceiling, and it just felt...
I'm in a walk-in closet.
It just felt like you were in a closet 24/7, and it just felt small. And it just, we started talking about it, and we were like, I don't think this is going to be sustainable for us long-term, and we want to RV long-term. So we were like, okay, we need to make a switch. We started thinking about it, doing that, and it just worked out with Alliance, and we're super happy to be partnered with them, and it's great. Like, I love this rig, and I was the one that we thought was going to be hard to switch to a bigger rig.
That kind of threw me for a loop, I'm not gonna lie. I always thought that it would be much harder to convince him to go back to a fifth wheel after a while. Like, I knew in my heart that that's always what I wanted, but we, you know, switched and tried different things.
We had to learn,
because why not? And you know, you wanted to try going smaller, so we tried.
And here are some final closing on this subject in general is you need to have the right truck. So we had fifth wheels in the past, and we were most likely overloaded with our 2500 pickup, and it just didn't feel right. It wasn't comfortable, and it wasn't nice towing. So you're overloaded. If you don't have the right setup with a fifth wheel, if your cab is contacting your fifth wheel, or if there's any issue with that, not great. And then there's other things like the bed. Now we have the flatbed. There's other pros of fifth wheels too that I'm thinking about. Is like right now we have larger tank than we had in our travel trailer for water.
Definitely higher water capacity.
We have higher gray capacities. We have a dishwasher. We have a washer machine and dryer.
Residential size appliances. I mean, like a microwave that actually works like really well.
Yeah, and for us to lose that, let's say 5%. Hudson, to lose that 5% of spots that we might want to go to, the trade-off was worth it. One is not better than the other. One might be better than the other for certain situations. It's really all about the time of life that you're in and what you need for your life.
Yeah, I mean, so we really liked our Grand Design 2910BH.
That's for sale.
That is still for sale. And it was great. It was so great for one kid. We felt like we had plenty of storage space in the second bunk and all that. And then he still had a dedicated sleeping space and all that. But just after having 2 kids, we realized that we were rapidly outgrowing that space, and we really wanted more space for the kids, just to like to each have their own closet,
honestly,
and to have floor space and space for toys like in their own room, not just like out in the living room. So
it just honestly feels like a home. And I mean, I think that's the thing, right? It's just whatever you need to feel like a home and to feel comfortable long term, that's the key. Sorry for the super cute baby that's taking the show. You're probably not even listening to us.
I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. He's not sorry either. Look at him. He's too cute.
But anyways, I hope this clarifies a lot of stuff for a lot of you people. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you're still watching. Hey, Mr. Fussy, hopefully you're still watching this far. And if you have a travel trailer, you're still our friends.
Yeah, life is all about seasons. That's me signing off.